General Malik, you want to respond as a proud army chief. Do you believe this is to be seen in that sense as a step forward to end mental servitude? I want an honest answer. All these years when you would be there at Rajpath, did you feel that it was a symbol of servitude and slavery?
Good evening, Rajdeep. I think before I say anything else and comment on what Swapnil Das Gupta has said, I'd like to mention the definition of nationalism as given by Ernest Renan long ago. And what he said was a people's sense of collective destiny through a common past and their vision of a common future. That was a definition given by Ernest Renan long ago. And I believe that continues. While symbolism is important, no doubt about it, so are the traditions and so are the honors that you win. The history doesn't change. Now, in one way we are different, the armed forces are different because ours is a blood-stained history. We have fought wars, and those traditions and the gallantry awards, they become important to us, not only important for military history point of view, but also to inspire us, to motivate us to continue fighting for whoever is the then, particularly these days when we are talking about our own nation. So for us, these are very important, and
but you already have a war memorial, sir.
Now you cannot remove India Gate, for example.
But you already have a war memorial now, General Malik. You already have a war memorial now. You already have a war memorial that is dedicated in a way to our armed forces. I'm suggesting, do you believe that the change in name from Rajpath to Kartavya Path really sees a sort of new India? Do you really see it as a symbol of new India?
Well, it is part of symbolism. It is an important symbolism. If it reminds you of a colonial past and you get rid of it, there is nothing wrong. It's a correct symbol today when we are talking of our own nation, independent nation. We are no longer talking of, we are no longer a colony, and therefore this change is nothing wrong with that. I think it is appropriate.
Okay, you believe it's appropriate. Mridula Mukherjee, as a critic of this government, do you believe that the government is simply using history in a way, using Netaji, using a name change to gloss over certain other issues that may be relevant?
Thank you, Rajdeep, for labeling me first.
You have been a critic of the government.
People know in advance what you expect from me. I'm not running away from that. I couldn't, even if I wanted to. But to come to the substantive point, you know, let me just share with you a thought that came to me when you were asking General Malik about traditions and colonial traditions. You know, what would he say if in the army there was a proposal to change the names of the regiments? After all, this army was a British army, and it transitioned then into an independent Indian army without any problems. And their nationalism is not in question because they haven't changed the names of the regiments. Or I could talk about many other traditions which are so British, so colonial, which the army happily continues and would be loth to change. But what is important is the substance. I think that's the point I want to come to. And for anybody to suggest today, 75 years after independence, we are beginning the process of decolonization. I'm sorry, as a historian, as an Indian, as somebody who's grown up in independent India, born after independence, grown up in this Delhi, where I saw the name change from Kingsway to Rajpath, from Queensway to Janpath. The decolonization process in various ways has continued. And decolonization is about changing your economy, making an independent economy. You know, I could...
No, but aren't symbols important, ma'am? Aren't symbols important? If I change Kingsway to Rajpath today, I change it to Kartavya Path, it's part of a, you know, the government will say it's part of a continuum. I'm looking in a way for new symbols to, in a way, reflect a new India. An India where most Indians are born well after 1947.
Rajdeep, the change from Rajpath to Kartavya Path is not decolonization. The change from Kingsway to Rajpath was decolonization. Now you can argue here, we don't want this particular road or avenue to denote the state and you want to denote duty, but that is not decolonization. So I'm saying first and all, it's like selling an idea and then going on and on about it, and by the evening, everybody begins to believe that this change of name is decolonization. You may, let's first question that very concept. You may say that the Rajpath, it is not Rajpath, it is Rajpath, state road, and Janpath, which cuts across it, is the road of the people. So it is meant to be actually the interaction between the state and the people. Now that's my interpretation which I'm giving you, which I thought all these years was true. You can give a different interpretation, but it doesn't become decolonization.
Okay, let's
be very clear about that.
That's a very interesting way you believe there is nothing decolonizing about changing a name. In a sense, you believe the real decolonization began when Kingsway became Rajpath.